every single image that you have should be either overcoming an objection, answering a question, or educating the customer on your product.
Hello, listeners, viewers from all over the world. Welcome to another episode of Mastering E-commerce Marketing. I have Daniela Bolzmann today on the show, founder of mindfulgoods.co. Daniela, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Daniela, it's a really exciting episode today. You're now in Peru, but you're serving global customers for all things Amazon, creatives, SEO, conversions. So plenty of things to discuss. But before we dive in, if you can share 3 words that are most important to you and why.
Okay. My 3 words are abundance, gratitude, and flow. The reason why I chose these words is I think mentally, I like to view things from a place of abundance. I think that's very important for me. It's been important since day one as I grow my business. That was a huge mental shift that I made in my life. And it opened a lot of doors for me to look at things that way. Whenever people look at it the opposite way, I think it holds them back in life. And I think everything that happens is an opportunity for abundance. The world is abundant. There's so many opportunities for everybody. And I am here to serve those who are in that same state of abundance with, right? Gratitude, because every single day I practice gratitude. I practice gratitude with my team. It's very important for me to stay in a mental attitude of gratitude, because again, that brings more abundance to me. And then flow, because everything we do in life, I want it to be with flow. Flow for me is like ease. It's we're going with the current. We're not fighting things. Whenever things are too constricting or too much friction, that is a sign for me that we're not in flow. And my life is a state of flow. So I try to stay in flow as much as I can.
Yeah. So just hearing you.
I'm a little hippie saying it out loud.
No, I just wanted to comment. So it sounds to me like a very solid, great combination of you being very, very practical in day-to-day life and business and try to achieve goals, but also doing it from a place of balance, right? Having this state of mind, like abundance is a state of mind, right? So it just abundance, it's just commercial abundance, or it's just understanding about limiting beliefs, right? And how they're holding us back, right? And also, right? And that's the flow is this default state of the mind, which is not just ruminating or just daydreaming, right? It's this set of state of mind that just creativity just flows and everything just happens naturally, right? So it's very, very nice. So really thank you for sharing that. For Daniela, what's happening in Amazon these days?
Oh, Amazon is always changing. There's so many things that are happening.
It's been very generic, I know, but things are changing fast. So I'd love a general update of what's happening right now.
I'll say that the things that are most exciting to me right now. So our lane, I'll stay in our lane of what we do in Amazon is on the creative SEO side. So we're focused on improving conversion and doing it organically. What's interesting for us right now is last year was a very scary year. It was the first year where Q1, we saw a massive dip in our sales, and that can put any agency into panic. I know a lot of other agency owners in the space were panicking, calling me and saying are you okay? How are things? Everyone's checking in with each other. Yeah. And some agencies closed, and there was a lot of fear about the tariffs, a lot of fear about AI coming in and taking over. Just yesterday, one of our partners sent out an email that said, fire your designers. 90% of designs are better with AI, and Mindful Goods, my company, is using AI to, help their clients, which if you think about it, we are absolutely, every creative agency should be using AI. And we are absolutely using AI. But I had multiple people reach out to me and be like, are you firing your designers? And I'm like, absolutely not. If anything, we've hired more designers. We are not firing designers. We are using more designers. We're using more AI tools than we ever have before. So that's exciting. These are the things that are making our lives easier and making our lives easier for brands, to be able to get new and interesting creatives that they never got before. And for the tiniest brands that have no budget to some of the biggest players on Amazon are experimenting with AI. So that's for me super top of mind, super exciting. It's very hard, resource intensive. It's not like you click a button and you have a fabulous image that you can use on Amazon. It still requires a lot of human effort, a lot of back and forth, a lot of fine tuning at the end, still in Photoshop. So I think that's the part um, that was really difficult last year. There was a lot of AI fatigue happening where as business owners, we have to try this tool, try that tool, and we're chasing all these things just to make sure that we don't fall behind. But at the end of the day, when I reflect back on the entirety of last year, our fundamentals of how we do business for our clients has not changed. Every single thing that we do is fundamentally based on data and creative. And so that combination of things hasn't changed. It's just accelerated in a way, you know?
Sure.
So that's really exciting. I mean, the thing before that people were focused on was probably Rufus. Everybody's talking about Cosmo and Rufus and how that's affecting conversion. I would say if you were doing, here's my hot take, if you were already doing the best practice as well, Rufus didn't fundamentally change anything. Might have given you an insight here and there, but it didn't fundamentally change anything you were doing. Probably showed you the things that you weren't doing correctly if you weren't doing those best practices. And then what else is interesting? I'm having a lot of fun right now with Amazon's AI Studio. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, please share.
So Amazon's AI Studio is a free tool on Seller Central where, for instance, for us, what I like using it for is, and I did this yesterday too, you're going to get a kick out of this. So you can take images that, let's say, your agency's created, or, you know, any still images that you already had from a photo shoot. You can drop it into Amazon AI Studio and ask it to animate the still images. So we have clients our client took at a photo shoot where there's a child eating a snack bar. Well, it's just a still, right? We didn't get a video. And if we had gotten the video clip from that photographer, it would have cost us, I think, $399 just for one clip that was 30 to 60 seconds, right? When we're creating a video ad for our agency partners to use for our clients, we only need 1 second. We don't need 30 seconds, 60 seconds. We need 1 second, maybe 2 seconds max, but 1 second is good enough, right? So Amazon AI Studio, I can drop in a bunch of stills from photo shoots. I can jump in the AI graphics that we created for A+ content or product image stacks, and I can say, animate these images, all of them. And I can take the best clips that I want from there, and it's creating 3, 4, 5 second clips. I only need 1 second of that clip on maybe 5 or 6 of whatever I upload to be something workable. And then I can take those clips and make videos from it and give that to the agency partner. They can run it on sponsor brand ads, you know?
Right.
So that's the kind of stuff that's like, it's just fun. That's not something we've ever been able to do before, you know? And brands can do it. We can do it. It's just, that's where my head's at. It's super fun, super creative.
Yeah. And we know, like, definitely on Amazon and also on the other platforms, they're not like, you know, they're happy for you using AI, even on pictures and videos. I mean, they're not just providing a different scoring on their algorithms because it's AI content. They're happy, and they're treating an AI content similar to any other type of content. And you, as you say, you didn't let go for your design. You're hiring because probably the job description has changed, right? You need now someone who can be more of a self-sustained, right? You need to know how to run these tools and manage them in a proper way, and increase capacity, and probably reduce time, and just provide much more throughput at a high quality. So definitely these things are changing. So what are the major, like, building blocks for an organic plan, you know, for Amazon Ascens or for Amazon pages? What are the major, you know, factors that you need to take into consideration when you focus on that topic?
I will distill it down into the key basics that you need to focus on. And this is really what you need to think about it is in terms of a funnel. So in almost everything in online marketing, there's a funnel involved, right? So we just need to think about, what is that funnel for Amazon? So when I try to explain this, I start with people that are searching for your product. Are they finding your product? How do we get them to find your product? We get them to find your product with your title and your bullets, which is your SEO copy that lives inside of your listing. right? It's on the front end that the customer sees, it's on the back end. That is what Amazon is using primarily still at this moment to help you show up in the search results against your competition. So we need to make sure that we show up there. So we need to do that well. There's still lots of brands that just copy paste from Shopify and don't do this one step right. We're still seeing brands achieve up to 990% increases in sales by split testing their titles and bullets. So this is a reality. It's one of the heavy hitters. It's probably the easiest lever for you to play with on your listings without even having to hire a designer. So
how do you analyze what works? I mean, there are some tools that you can, how
So-
do that?
we personally use Data Dive to construct our titles. So we do it with a feature inside of Data Dive called Battle of the Titles. This is something we used to do manually. We used to have a little calculator in a spreadsheet, and we would check would pull all the keywords that we'd be looking at for that particular product, and we'd put them into the calculator, and we try to figure out how do we get a mix of keywords that are highly relevant keywords in our title structure and that have the largest reach, right? And so it's playing with that a little bit, right? But not just relying on one title. You can play with multiple titles. The other thing you can do is you can actually build titles for different parts of the year when you're targeting different keywords in your advertising campaign so that everything is in full alignment, right? So if you know that you're targeting seasonal allergies at seasonal allergy time of year, you can then move that into your title and make sure that everything stays in alignment with your advertising and your product listings, right? So I highly recommend that. So take it a step further and do that. But that title, the Battle of the Titles, is basically just helping you construct very strong, high reach, high intent titles and bullets. And then you can go ahead and use a tool like Amazon's free tool called Manager Experiments to put the title in there, set up the split test, let it run. The downside of Manager Experiments is it's a little time consuming. It can take 4 to 10 weeks. But it's one of those things, just like set it and forget it. Like it takes you 5 minutes to construct a new title, put it in there, another 5 minutes, and then come back to it a few weeks later and take a look and see how it's doing. Let it run its course and see what it does, So you should be doing that throughout the year, not just once on your title. Highly recommend. That's the number one lever. Second step, let's say you've got that nailed down. You've done that. Your title's doing well. You're showing up in search. Now that you're showing up, how do you get more people to click on you versus your competitors? The way that you do that, the biggest way you can do that is with your main image, right? There's other elements in there like your price and your offer and all of that, your reviews, obviously. But the biggest thing you can control is that main image.
Yeah,
So,
it's still that. Sorry to interrupt you, Daniela. It's still that small, maybe a thumbnail, right, on the big page, right?
yeah. And there's so many different ways that you can construct that thumbnail. There's so many different ways, and there's so many brands that are not doing it. So the brands that are doing it are getting most of the clicks, right? So we gotta play the game on Amazon. We gotta start testing our main images.
What are the best practices for this thumbnail?
So what we do currently is different from what we did last year. We use an AI tool that's been trained on our best performing main images, and it automatically generates, we drop in our client's product. It automatically generates 20 images. Our creative director then looks at all those images and says like, okay, these 3 can be polished off and move straight into testing. These other 3, let's ideate on this. These are good starting point. Let's play around. Let's do some other things, right? And the goal there is we're then testing in a tool like PickFu, where we can get the data back in 30 minutes and understand this one moves the needle and this is why. Yeah. And then, okay, what happens if we take this from this one and we move it into this one, right? And so we're playing with all of these different combinations to ultimately end up with maybe 2 to 5 strong variants that we can test. And here's the interesting thing. I just did a presentation yesterday where I was showing how we did this, right? We created like 20, maybe 50 images, and 10 other agencies did the same thing for one brand. It was a competition that we did all together, all these agencies. I guarantee you we all were doing this, right? We then all probably split tested in a tool like Product Opinion or PickFu. And then we submitted what we thought was our best performing main images. And then they then tested us, our best, against everyone else's, all the other agencies, to see who was the winner, right? Yeah. And so our variant, I think, tied for first place. And the thing about that, though, is that when we looked at our top 5, we almost didn't run the fifth option. We almost went with what we thought was our top 4. In our minds, we looked at it and we said, I think these are going to be the top ones we're going to go with. Let's put these into the test. And at the last minute, we were like, you know what? This one's slightly different. Let's just put that one in there too. And that one ended up getting 60% of the votes. And it was the one that we almost didn't include. And that's a learning lesson for everyone here. Just because you think you have a strong main image, you can always beat that main image. You can always beat that main image. So we should always be testing other variants. The other thing is, once you have one that's really strong and the market knows it's very strong, guess what's going to happen? They're all going to start putting out similar images. So you need to have other ones in your backlog so that when they're over here doing this, you can do that. You know, like we need to be standing out in those search results. So that's the thing. So we need to make sure our product is showing up in like 90% of the frame like this. We need to make sure that we have interesting eye candy going on. We need to make sure we have high intent keywords so that Rufus is picking up on that and serving you up in the right places. We need to, consider badges, consider anything that can help make your product stand out. If everyone has the product straight on, maybe you have yours at an angle. If everyone has it without a shadow, maybe you add a shadow. If everyone's images look a little dull, maybe you put some brightness on your packaging. Like if people can't read the main keyword, this happened with one of our clients. They had a snack bar, and we ran a split test with different formations, different configurations where like the product was this the way, we had the packets coming out, we had this, we had that, all of these things. It was beautiful, all these different combinations. And then we kept getting the same comment in the pick through results saying like, is this vegan? Is this vegan? Is this vegan? And we were like, wait a minute. It says vegan on there, but it's very small. Why didn't we think to enhance the word that's already on there? Obviously, Rufus would have picked it up because it's on the packaging. It doesn't have to be big for Rufus to pick it up, by the way. But if a consumer keeps asking you the same question over and over again, enhance it. Make it so easy, because if someone's searching for a vegan protein bar and only 5 of the search results say vegan really big, guess what they're going to click on? They're going to click on one of those 5 results, right? So it's like those things that seem super obvious, but sometimes it's not. Like we're so close. Like we do this every single day, and we should have thought of something like that and we didn't. But when the comments come out in the data, you're like, oh, duh. What? Like, let's make that word bigger, right? And they saw an 11.8% increase in click-through traffic within 2 days. So like
huge.
And they were already a top selling brand, already top position in search. So to see an increase like that for a brand that's already performing well is huge. So these are the learning lessons, right? So that's step 1, getting found with SEO. Step 2, main image. Step 3, now they're inside your listing. They've clicked on your main image. They've come inside. How do we get them to convert? And this is probably the biggest mistake I see across all brands, is that they've kind of copy pasted their images from Shopify, and they have beautiful imagery, but the imagery was like maybe made for Instagram or maybe made for something else. And they've kind of hodgepodged it, pieced it together, and like, here's our Amazon page. And it's like, it answers some questions, but not really. And it doesn't actually fully tell the complete story of what you're trying to say, And so every single image that you have should be either overcoming an objection, answering a question, or educating the customer on your product. Like, it has to be as if you were giving your sales team a script. That is what your images should be doing for you, from your product images down to your A+ down, and using things like premium A+ content instead of basic A+ content, so that you can have more interaction, more dwell time. You can have more embedded video. You can have mobile friendly content. So really thinking through all of your creative on your Amazon, it's its own thing. And this is something that the biggest brands in the world are still doing wrong. And I know because we're working with them. Like I know because they've come to us and they're like, what are we doing wrong? And I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's what you're doing wrong. Like you're still on version 1.0. We're on version 3.0 over here on Amazon. Like, we need to upgrade your content and show consumers what they came to see. Like, these are brands that are making hundreds of millions of dollars on their D2C website, and they have this amazing content, but they haven't thought through what that experience is like on Amazon. And when they do, and they see the results, they're like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
you know?
And it's going like very, very deep, right? And it's just you need to just it's changing so fast because, as you said, if you correct something and you think it's working, it's not going to work maybe like a few weeks down the line, right? Because competition will copy, and then you need to reiterate and do something else.
That's category specific, right?
Yeah.
But I look at it like a loop. Like you follow the steps, you find a winning variant, and then do it again. So you should have a spreadsheet. Every brand should have a spreadsheet of like, these are all the tests we want to run this year on these specific SKUs. And let's prioritize which ones we think are going to move the needle the most. What is the priority with our funnel? Are we trying to get more search volume? Are we trying to get more clicks? Or are we trying to get more conversion? Like where are we falling short on each of these products? And then focus your tests on what's going to solve that part of your funnel, and just keep doing it. Keep going in a loop.
Yeah. And I love that thought process of just using the picture to just answer major objections, right? Pains, key differentiations. But how do you do that, right? I mean, those pictures are a mix of like the product picture, maybe text on the pictures themselves. I mean, how do you convey, how do you deliver all these answers, right?
Always a combination of both. Always a combination of both. If you have an image that is just, let's say, like what we call like a flat lay, like a beautiful image of eggs sitting on a counter, and you're selling the bowl, right? And that's was shot for Instagram. What is that telling me? It's showing me something. It's showing me a bowl sitting on a counter in a kitchen, okay? But what is it telling me? It's not telling me anything. So it needs to be telling me something at the top of the image. And is what I'm showing in the image really what I'm trying to be saying, right? So do the two correlate? Like every image should have that combo function, right? So maybe I was trying to show that I have a set of I'm just going to show you. Maybe I was trying to show that I have a very durable bowl that can sit on your countertop. And maybe I was trying to show that it's perfect for displaying in your kitchen. And in that case, I would say a header that is similar to that, and I would have that photo. But maybe the bowl is not for your kitchen. Maybe the bowl is for, putting outside, and it's durable year-round outside and outdoor weather. In that case, you want to have it outdoors, and that way Rufus is going to study your imagery and understand the context of where you're putting the bowl as well, right? So these are the things that we need to consider as we're building imagery. What supports the hierarchy of what you're saying in the image and the image that you're actually showing. So it's showing and telling together, and they need to go together.
Yeah. And there needs to be some coherence between the pictures. I mean, just conveying, you need to be thoughtful, because as you said, what I'm learning from you is that every picture can represent really different things, right? What do you want to convey? What do you want to answer in this picture? So the text will help, and try to take the users like through a journey, right? With each picture, just exposing more, or just providing more value, or answer a specific pain, or highlight a differentiation. And definitely videos are helpful as well. What else?
And also speaking to that customer, right? So this goes back to like your avatars, which is like what everybody does in the beginning when you're first pulling all of your data. Data Dive, for instance, and Voke AI are two tools that help us pull lots of data based on the reviews that customers are leaving, for instance. So I had a discussion with Brandon Young from Data Dive a while ago, and he brought up the best example of this. It was one of my favorites that I've ever heard. And I can't remember what the product was, but I think it was some type of a hanger solution or something, right? That you would put in your closet. And when they pulled the data on this product, there was about 20 or 30% of the reviews that were mentioning that they use it in their van.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole van life community.
Yeah.
That's a totally different audience than a mom that's organizing her closet in her house, right? So imagine you're selling to a mom in her house, or are you selling to the van life people, right? The imagery that you're going to use for each one of those types of people is going to be totally different. And so in that sense, you might even consider splitting your listings and doing a variation of your product for van life. Or you might have to figure out a way where you're talking to both customers if it's such a large percentage of van life customers. It's a good chunk, that you might just be ignoring. And maybe if you put a couple van life images in there somehow, and if it worked with your design, you could be speaking to both customers and getting more revenue that way.
Interesting. Interesting. What else on the listing page? Reviews, some of the text, or what else you can highlight?
Those are the biggest key considerations. The piece that I think that most, I mean, if you did those fundamentally well, that would be like 80% of the solution,
80%.
right?
Yeah.
That's the 80-20 right there. You can do all of that before you even launch your product because you can get this data from tools like Data Dive and Vogue, right? So that's 80% of it. The other 20% is going to be the split testing. So it's going to be not stopping at just creating one version. It's going to be looking at, like, do we refresh once a year, or how do we create content that we can test throughout the year? We have brands now coming to us and they tell us that they're working with 2, 3, 4, 5 agencies to get multiple sets of content so they can see what resonates with them, because it's not a surefire thing that you're going to come to us and we're going to like read your mind and like create this amazing thing. I would say like 80-90% of our customers absolutely love what we do right out the gate, but creative is difficult. It's not like every agency or every designer is going to nail it the first time, right? So imagine if you have 4 or 5 agencies working on creative for your product, and you might like 3 of the agency's work, and you might test all 3 of the agency's work, and maybe 1 or 2 perform really, really well, right? So this is the kind of thing that's the kind of way that I would look at it. If I was a multi-million-dollar brand, I wouldn't be looking at it as like a one time a year annual refresh. I think an annual refresh is great for smaller brands, that they don't have the budget to be doing that. But when you're a large multi-million-dollar brand, you got to be playing up here on Amazon,
For sure.
So-
For sure. What brands would expect in terms of organic versus paid from your experience? I mean, what's working? I mean, Amazon, what are the ratios? I know that even when you search, you see the sponsored content listings as well.
It's okay. So that's fair. Amazon is a pay to play game at this point. I will say most of the brands that come to us at this point, they are working with advertising agencies and they're working with us for creative. So we're very blessed that we have, we know that that's the support that we have on that end. It's a 2-part puzzle on Amazon. It's conversion and traffic. So if a brand comes to us and they want us to fix conversion, but they don't have somebody focused on traffic, you're still missing a big piece of the puzzle,
Sure.
right? So those are the 2 factors that we know makes Amazon successful. We focus on just the conversion piece. On our site at mindfocus.co, we have a metrics tab at the top, and we are totally transparent and open. We publish our results usually once or twice every year on what our latest aggregate split testing data shows you. So what's interesting about this is you can go and look and see, okay, what's moving the needle right now, and we also have category data. Right. So our next one that we're coming out with is going to be for supplements. So in supplements, I just looked at it today, so I kind of know this top of mind. In supplements, we're seeing anywhere from 13% conversion rate to 52 or 53% conversion rate. So if you're in supplements, that's the benchmark that you should be trying to hit somewhere in there, right? And it helps you understand, okay, for my category. Yeah. And you can do this with like search query reports as well too. You can kind of understand, like, in your category, what are the ranges, right? But for us, why that's interesting is because we're running those split tests and we like to see organically how is this all moving the needle, right? And so we're able to say, okay, within the supplements that we've tested, this is what they're seeing with title testing. This is what they're seeing with image stack testing. This is what they're seeing with A+ content. And that can help you determine where you should put your energy. Should I be focused on A+ or should I be focused on product images right now?
Yeah. Daniela, how do you describe your ideal, customer?
Our ideal customer is typically very brand centric. So I'm talking about almost like the D2C style brands that sell on Shopify that are putting out something that is aesthetically pleasing that they believe should be in the world for one reason or another. It's typically not a commodity style product. very, very brand-minded founders. That's who we deal with day in and day out. That's our typical client, and they're typically doing $1 million or more annually.
Yes, yes, obviously, and they can appreciate and have time to evaluate, and do all the split testing, and creative is a main driver, right, for differentiation and organic reach. And so, Daniela, how those brands can find you?
Mindfulgoods.co. I'm also like small in a little tiny corner of the internet of LinkedIn. So they'll find me there.
Great. Daniela, anything else you want to add?
That's it. That's it. Actually, you can go to our website and we have or follow me on LinkedIn, and we share a massive swipe file all the time that people can download and see a bunch of creatives that have performed that either we've created or we've aggregated from Amazon. So that's probably our number one download. Hundreds of amazing, aesthetically creative images that you can then hand off to your designer to get inspired.
Amazing. And this is sorted by niche, or you can find a variety of categories, obviously.
It's sorted by main images, product images, A+ content, and storefronts. And then we have little videos that show you like how we look at each thing.
Wow, nice. Definitely, it's a wonderful thing that you did. So thank you so much. And obviously, we will share it also in the show notes. So Daniela,
For sure.
great work. Thank you.
Thank you.